Hey, Dean Yeager.
To our fourth installment of our Marvel Cinematic Universe discussion. Fourth one.
Our longest running series?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But these four films we're going to cover today are Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Spiderman Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, and Black Panther.
Yeah.
And this is all leading into, which I believe will be our last video, because we're going to stop at Endgame.
Yeah.
The final four after that.
Yeah.
But let's dive right into it with Guardians 2.
Guardians 2, I really looked forward to seeing the second one because I enjoyed the first one so much, you know. I enjoyed all the characters and whatnot, and especially, too, going into it, I don't remember quite what I thought as far as who the villain was going to be. Maybe I had heard something.
Yeah.
But Kurt Russell, man.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah. As Ego, the living planet.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember being more excited about this one than the first one because I really thought the first one was going to be a little out there.
Right.
And I thought they were going to stumble, which, of course, they did. They kept going. One of my favorite things was Stallone's cameo.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm a big Stallone fan.
Yeah, with the original Guardians.
Yes.
Real heartfelt, actually, and, you know, throughout the course of the film, hopefully everyone watching this has seen it. Yondu, Michael Rooker's character, you know,
yes,
the father figure to Star-Lord, passes away. You know, he gets killed during the course of the film. And I thought it was a pretty, you know, heartfelt scene. I thought they pulled it off really well.
Yeah.
Because the tone of the Guardians Galaxy films are usually pretty, you know, comedic.
Slapjack, all that stuff, yeah.
But they did this, and I think they did it justice.
I agree with that. And I thought it was great. You see the characters evolve more.
Yes.
You know, and of course they play a big part in, you know, the Infinity Saga. But as we get to the post-credit scenes, and I'm going to need a lot of help on this one because they did a lot of stuff that they haven't, not that they won't, I'm sure they have plans, but they haven't done anything with them yet. And up until recently when I just watched them again, I'm still kind of confused by it because, again, I don't know anything about Guardians. But that one post-credit scene with the female...
Oh, yeah. I forgot the name of the race, but
yes.
The gold skin race, you know, Adam Warlock.
And she creates...
Yeah. And, well, and the thing about it is Adam Warlock, you know, it's a case of, you know, the horse before the carriage.
Yeah.
And because, you know, as a fan of the comics and whatnot, Warlock featured heavily in the Infinity War saga, in the Infinity Gauntlet, the original crossover saga. Him, Silver Surfer, and Doctor Strange figured prominently. So here we have the what appears to be the creation of Adam Warlock, and you know you're not going to get probably him until after.
Now,
until
phase 4 now?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, at the earliest.
You know,
one of my favorite post-credit scenes though is Stallone again.
Yes.
With the original Guardians saying, "Let's go steal some stuff." You know, I paraphrase a little bit there, but no, it was great. But again, Guardians kind of stands alone on its own. There's nothing that sets it up. Where I think Kevin Feige had said this, where like the Avengers and stuff were the Beatles, he wanted the Guardians to be like the Rolling Stones. He wanted it to be their own kind of entity. So they never really collided until
there's no mention, with the exception of Star-Lord, his real name.
Yeah.
But with
you know better than me.
Well, on Earth, of course, where it takes place, where Kurt Russell shows up and you know, as his surrogate father or whatever. And besides that, there's no mention of the other heroes. Of course, they don't know anything about what's going on.
No.
Their only experience with Thanos is their own experiences
with
with Thanos.
has no idea that there's a whole other war going on.
Right, they don't know. And Ronan the Accuser in the first one.
Yes.
But again, I really thought that Russell, who you never, is one of those guys that, sort of like Stallone, you never figure, man, this guy's going to pop up in a Marvel film.
I know it. Especially because Stallone asked him to be, and this is a whole other topic, but asked him to be in The Expendables.
Right.
I don't want to be in a movie with a bunch of other actors, but yet
Here
he did The Fast and the Furious, which is a bunch of actors.
Yeah.
And now he's doing a Marvel movie. But
you
again,
like him so much.
I've always been a Kurt Russell fan.
His character is, you like him, so you're like, oh man, he's really laying it on thick to his son. He wants to inherit this. And all of a sudden, at the end, he drops that line about the mother. I'm like, dude, what a piece of work, this guy.
But so again, post-credit scenes. Let us know what you think about it. They're obviously on their own. They haven't done anything yet. Comment on it later if they ever do. Next movie we get is Spider-Man Homecoming, which honestly, the next movie we were supposed to get was Black Panther.
Yeah.
But between Civil War, before Civil War was made, or during, they struck a deal with Sony to acquire the rights to Spider-Man. And we can obviously tackle this later. I didn't agree with completely rebooting Spider-Man again. We rebooted him back in the early 2000s away from Tobey Maguire. Then Andrew Garfield, they weren't happy with, I think, Spider-Man 2's box office performance. They didn't know what they were going to do, if they were going to redo it, do all this. Well, then they strike a deal with Sony, and Marvel decides we're just going to start over. Nothing against Tom Holland. I think he's done a good job.
Yeah.
I personally thought Garfield was better, but so we get a reboot, and then Black Panther gets pushed. Well, we're just going to push Black Panther down. Well, we got set up in Civil War for Black Panther. I was excited for Black Panther because I didn't know who Black Panther was till Civil War, and I was like, yes. And then it's like, oh, we're going to get a remake first? So I was a little disappointed. Having said that, watching the film, if it wasn't for Michael Keaton, I would totally trash this film. But again, it was good. Holland again did a good job. But Michael Keaton really elevated that film as the Falcon.
Yeah.
Or the Vulture.
The Vulture.
I don't Falcon, sorry. The Vulture.
Holland, a lot of people, and I'd almost have to agree with this, embodies the Spider-Man was a
he was a kid.
Yeah, and he was a talker. He cracked wise, while he was fighting villains, whatever he was doing, that was his thing, that he was playful about it. He took things seriously that were serious.
He was kind of a jerk.
He was
and that's what I thought Garfield portrayed the best, especially where the guy's stealing a car.
Yeah.
And he's like, you don't want to steal a car. Don't dress in black or something. And then the guy pulls out a knife. He's like, is that a knife? You got my weakness. It's small knives, That's what I thought he embodied. I don't think Holland really embodied that. I think he's done a great job. Don't, kill me on this. And they really messed up the timeline because if I know anything about Marvel, it was Spider-Man. Tony Stark never mentored.
No.
Tony Stark never mentored Spider-Man. Now, the only way Spider-Man joined is because the Civil War started. Tony Stark visited Spider-Man and basically offered him money and a brand new suit. Right. He said, if you join this side of the war, you'll get money and a brand new suit. That was his only really collaboration with Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Tony Stark was not his mentor. But again, I understand why they did it. I get it. But that was certain grievances that I had with it.
Yeah, you had to bring them on board somehow. And how are you going to do that in a moment's notice?
Yeah.
You struck the deal with Sony. How are we going to introduce them? What are we going to... let's do it this way.
We'll put the Iron Horse with him. The Godfather of Marvel.
Yes. And
it's funny, too, because I think Downey Jr. was supposed to be in Guardians 1. He was supposed to show up one of these films. But he had come out and said, you know what? I think at the end of this contract, I'm done.
Right.
So they obviously didn't want to use it for a cameo. And then obviously he struck a big deal with them. And that's when then everything fell into place. And that's why he's in Spider-Man.
Yeah. And it works also because obviously he plays the father figure mentor to Peter Parker.
I thought it was good because, again, Michael Keaton made that film for me.
Yeah.
I loved it. But again, and they have this habit, too, of taking these characters that were pretty big in the comic books and almost toss them away. The Shocker. He kills the Shocker. Not on purpose, because he's like, I thought this was a stun gun. And he's like, no, that's the stun gun. and he just picks up. Oh, here, you're the Shocker now. And they have a habit of doing that. I never knew the Shocker, so it doesn't affect me, but I just think it's funny that they do that a lot. But Michael Keaton as the Vulture was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what did it for me. I can put away my grievances because Holland was good for what he was, and Michael Keaton.
Marissa Tomei sort of plays a younger Aunt May.
A little bit younger, yeah. I like if I liked anything, and again, we've talked about doing a whole stuff on Spider-Man and the films and stuff.
Yeah.
If I take anything away from the Tobey Maguire ones, it was Aunt May.
Yeah.
I thought she was amazing. Now, Sally Field and Garfield did pretty good too.
I thought so, yeah.
And then you get Marissa Tomei, like you said, is a little younger.
Yeah.
The younger version.
Downey as Stark hits on you. Oh, your aunt's pretty hot and all that. So it's a running joke because the two of them had a relationship in real life.
Yeah, they were in a movie together.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we get through that. And Spider-Man really doesn't set anything up either, except for the Vulture and the Scorpion cross paths. And you almost see like the Vulture's like, well, I'm not going to serve up Spider-Man to these guys.
Yeah.
Either he's saving them for himself, or he's like, you know what? Maybe I should join forces. And I'm just speculating because this part of the comic book I didn't know a whole lot about.
No, well, again, that's not in the comics. You know, the Vulture, as far as Adrian Toomes, was always a bad guy as far as I knew. And again, I think Keaton did a great job because Keaton at that time was approaching 70.
Yes.
And the Vulture was an older gentleman.
He was great, yeah.
So, yeah, not a big setup. And as far as the grander cinematic universe...
Yeah, the only thing we know about going into Thor Ragnarok is that they were going to follow the guidelines sort of where Guardians of the Galaxy. It's going to be more comedy, more slapstick.
Yeah.
And I was a little worried again about this, but at the same time, I'm like, well, they got to try something because I felt like Dark World, it was great when I saw it, like we talked about earlier. But when you saw Winter Soldier, you definitely was like, man, they really misstumbled, or they took a wrong step with Dark World. Nothing away from it. It's part of the whole thing, and I love it. But it was a miss. So I'm like, well, they got to try something. Well, and for some reason, it worked.
Tia Waititi, I think is the director's. I might be. Hopefully, I'm not butchering that badly on the pronunciation. But out of the gate on this one, I thought he did great. My only, as we all know by now, the Hulk, features prominently Bruce Banner, which is great. But they tried to merge the Ragnarok storyline with World War Hulk.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to the rights issue. That goes back to Universal and the Hulk. You can't have an actual proper Hulk film. So let's try to do, a Hulk film pseudo-quasi and fit it in to a Thor film.
Which, I mean, I thought he was great.
Yeah.
I love the whole thing where Thor thinks he's the strongest Avenger.
Yeah.
And maybe arguably in some cases he might be. We all know the Hulk, what he can do, but he's like, the thing, he's like strongest Avenger and like doesn't recognize it's like Point Break, damn you Stark, and what is he says something to Bruce Banner. He said, we fought. He said, who won? He said, I did. Easy. That doesn't sound right.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's great. And then you've got what is his name?
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I love him as the Collector.
Yeah.
Or is it the Collector? Or
no, sort of like his cousin. He's I'm trying to remember the character's name now. But they're from the same group. I think they're the Eternals or something like that.
Man, he's just great. Like one of my favorite scenes is before Thor's going to fight, and he's got this hologram of him that's like 20 feet tall. And, oh, look at you all! It's main event time.
Event,
The whole thing was great. Obviously, Thor. We lose Anthony Hopkins. We lose, the father.
That's a great scene.
That is, and then the sister,
Hela. Yeah.
Oh man,
Kate Blanchett.
Blanchett, who's always a phenomenal actress.
Yes. Shows up in though it's a little bit different. She's their sister.
Yeah.
But in the comics, I think she is Loki's aunt or something. So it's but anyway, again, it works for the storyline.
Yeah. he gets thrown on that world. He's got to fight his way. He got to get off of it. You know, they get back to Asgard.
Yeah.
And they realize that they're not going to win. They have to summon what's his name back.
Oh, Surtur.
Yeah, so he can basically destroy her and Asgard because she wants to take over Asgard.
Right.
So they have the big fight scene, and then they get off, and everything's great, and then you get your post-credit scene that is really smack dab setting you up for Infinity War because they're flying. All of a sudden, Thanos' ship appears.
Yep.
And you know it's not going to be good.
I want to give a shout out to Clancy Brown, who did the voice for Surtur.
Yes.
Of course, Anthony Hopkins.
And we can't, and I don't know if we've ever actually given him a proper acknowledgement. The gatekeeper for Asgard.
Idris Elba.
He is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a star on his own. He can carry his own film, and here he is just playing the gatekeeper.
That's again the character's name eludes me. Sort of like what was it? The three fighters, like the Vikings. There was the big guy, and then there was
I can't.
The fighters. I forgot again the names, but you had a lot of say cameos in some cases of characters.
You can't forget the beginning where he goes back to Asgard. And Loki is basically
Loki.
And you've got Matt Damon, and I forget the
Sam
other guy.
Neill.
Yeah, they're playing. That was great.
Loki, because again, you've got Loki, who in this now he had Tom Hiddleston. He did great comedic work before in the franchise, but in this, it's a different route for him too. It's a different environment because it's really comedic.
Oh yeah,
and he does well, played off of not only Hemsworth but.
Bruce Banner,
Mark Ruffalo,
and then they introduced what's her name, the female character, she flies on the unicorn.
Oh, the Valkyrie.
Yes,
yeah.
There you go.
So you got a lot going on in there, but you know what? He manages to give everybody their due.
It was great. If whatever they lost in Thor 2, to me they gained it all back and more in Thor 3.
Yeah,
and I don't look at it as where I said before like Cap passed Thor. I look at it. All four of them are strong. They're rolling into Infinity War at the top of their game.
A little side note, it's a funny story, actually. We went to go see this movie with a friend of ours. And
the movie cut out,
and I don't know what it was, but there was a voice distortion on all the characters.
It was so bad. But it was funny,
Yeah, and I remember we were cracking up, we were laughing, so it was starting to hurt, we were crying.
Yeah.
It was great, yes. Yeah, so
one little side note there. Yeah. So we go from that, which I think, honestly, after that, if things were supposed to go the way they were, we'd have went right into Infinity Wars. Right. But since Black Panther gets bumped, it comes out in February, the year that Infinity Wars come out.
Right.
And I got nothing but great things to say about Black Panther. I thought it was phenomenal. My only beef is that his biggest villain, which was the Claw.
Yeah.
He was, and I love the actor.
Yeah. Andy Serkis.
Gollum. The Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
He
plays Caesar. I was like, this is great. He's going to get his due because that's all I knew about it was that Claw was his biggest adversary. And he was kind of pushed to the side.
Yeah, the dude hams it up, man. He's great. He's such a phenomenal
amazing.
actor.
That little run-in they had at, the casino or something there. I was like, this is going to be great. And then all of a sudden, it takes a turn on it.
Yeah, why couldn't you team him up with, in his own right, Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger does wonderfully.
Michael B. Jordan is a phenomenal actor as well. And them two going against each, that's all great. But couldn't that have been like a Black Panther 2?
Yeah.
Because to me, he was even... They made him even better than the Claw, so why not bring out the big gun second one? Yeah. Obviously, we've lost, Big Boseman, so a second Black Panther is probably not going to happen, and I wouldn't see a recasting.
The presence that Boseman had,
he was amazing.
You
got to feel for a lot of these guys, like Paul Rudd and Chris. These guys brought in after this ship is got this momentum going,
right?
And if you're the one that stalls this momentum, you're done.
Yeah.
But they came in, and not only did they it's not like they just slid in and it just kept going. They made an impact.
Yeah.
As much as, I understand, maybe there's some grievance about Paul Rudd, but to come in there and do the film and to be a prominent role, especially in like Civil War, and then, of course, later here in Infinity Wars, And then the same thing with Black Panther. It really disappointed me because I'm like, I feel like Black Panther was stronger than the Spider-Man reboot. We should have got Black Panther earlier.
Yeah.
Because he would have even had more momentum coming off of Civil War, and then boom, you get Black Panther after Guardians.
So. Yeah,
but you know, they had their reasons. I understand why. Black Panther was huge.
Yeah,
it's one of the biggest ones. It stands up with the Avengers.
Yep,
and rightfully so. And you know, the post-credit scenes though, they don't. The only thing we get out of that is that Winter Soldier's there, basically living there.
Yeah.
And they kind of tell him like, hey, you know, war's coming. And
yeah, he's recuperating there. And they give him his metal arm back, but it's made of vibranium, I think, this time.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. But you know, all in all, what a great series of films.
These four were great, yes. Spider-Man is probably the least favorite of mine, but again, I'm a fan of this whole timeline and I put Hulk 1 from 2003 in there because as much as they say it didn't happen, in The Incredible Hulk, they assume that you watched it. And it feels like a sequel. So I put it from Hulk all the way to Endgame. All these films are great.
I do Howard the Duck on it.
There you go. I agree with that. Okay. Especially because Howard the Duck shows up in the post-credits of Guardians. Why do you let him lick you like that?
Yeah.
But no, we're going to stop it right here. We got the big four coming up next. And we're going to end this saga, hopefully on a high note.
Your favorite?
Favorite. Ooh,
out of those four?
One. I would have to say Black Panther.
Black Panther?
Black Panther or Ragnarok. Those are right there, you know. And I like Guardians too. Like I said, the only one that I would say I least like out of the three is Spider-Man.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, seeing the problem is with Holland, you know, I guess the best way to put it, if we hadn't had Andrew Garfield and we had a interim period in between of no Spider-Man, maybe we wouldn't have been Spider-Man'd out by this point.
It's just, it's a lot to reboot the character 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, if you're bringing him into the Civil War saga, he's already established.
Yeah.
You bring Garfield in, it makes it that much bigger because he's already established. I know there was some grievances on his performance, but the main were the other elements in the film. And again, like I said, we're talking about doing all, and we can get into all that later. So bringing him in, already established, and he's got his fan base. To me, it would have been we wouldn't have been Spider-Man out. It would have been like, oh man, that's great. They're bringing Garfield.
Yeah,
we're going to roll it, and nothing's going to stop. We're going to bump Black Panther. We're going to reboot the whole thing again, and then mess it up by making Tony Stark his mentor and all that.
Marvel, I mean, continuity. I would say, not continuity, but aside from strain from certain source materials, they haven't made a lot of mistakes.
No, and you can't say they made a mistake in this because it did do well.
It did.
So, I mean, you know, we're just, you know, airing out our grievances, whether you agree with them or not. It's just our opinion. So it's not like, they really dropped the ball on that one. I mean, they still kept going.
Yeah.
They're still rolling.
I would have to say I'd go with, almost by default, I'd go with Thor Ragnarok because, you know, I'm a big Hulk fan. I was glad he got the due paid that he was, despite, you know, all things. You know, I just thought the movie was great.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, like I said, we're going to stop it right here. Look out for the big four next, and that'll probably be our conclusion on this discussion. It's been a hell of a ride.
Yes, it has.
We're not done yet. Let us know your comments. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. What were your favorites from it? What were your least favorites? What did you like about the series? What you didn't like about these four?
Burn them.
I wouldn't burn any of them.
No.
Maybe Spider-Man. No, I won't do that. Anyway, we'll see you later.